All right, so this is step two, and we're going to be again kind of working together to develop the system. But as of right now, you're going to be going through and picking out houses that need work in the top zip codes that I just sent you. And that will build up the saved home list, right? Um, Now we're going to comp those properties. So I'm going to step through this on how to comp properties on Zillow. Again, if you see a better way of doing it, let me know, and we'll continue to develop the system. So I'm going to pause this and work on comping out properties. All right, so I think the easiest way to go about comping out properties, once we heart these properties, we save them, we can go back in, use the spreadsheet, and really kind of target the neighborhoods we want. So like this one, we'll make offers in this one because we had 6 properties we pulled out of there. And it's a pretty good use of our time rather than, finding the ARV for one. We're going to be much better at finding the ARV for these 6 because once we kind of get the gist of the neighborhood, it's going to be much easier to comp all 6 of these versus the one. That's kind of the idea, right? So that's why we're doing this way. So, because I doubt we'll even mess with this right now, these ones, obviously the zeros, but the ones that have 6, 7, whatever properties to look at, that's kind of the neighborhoods that have the inventory that we want to focus on. All right, so I went ahead and plugged in the app. I hate that about Zillow. Plugged in the zip code that we're after, and it still pops up the little hearts of ones that we like. So these are for sale, any price, any bedroom, bath, houses, townhouse, condos. Again, since I've logged out and logged back in, the search criteria has not changed. It sticks. So unless you clear your cookies or whatever in your computer, right? So then, and then we've got anything going on here. So now this is going to change up a little bit because we want to, and this is important that I'm going to go on and change some of the search criteria. And if you're going in and looking for actives, you need to make sure to do this scan first. Probably need to make sure I'm not in here and do this scan first, and then make the changes to your search. But then after you make those changes and you go through all the zip codes, then it sticks, right? So, but now we're going to go ahead and comp these properties. So let's go ahead and zero in. Oops. Oh, I did that. Okay, let's go ahead and zero in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of all in the same area. I guess this is why this guy thinks he gets 340. There must be something going on over here that I'm not knowing. That's 1800. Anyways, I'm getting caught up on something I don't need to be doing. All right, so now here's the 3, 4, all in the kind of the same area. So I'm really super interested in zeroing in on this particular area. And when we're comping properties in Denver, we've gotten more aggressive where we're kind of looking for the higher price properties, and they hold a lot more weight in the neighborhood. In Oklahoma City, because we don't know the market particularly well, let's stick to the comps that are closest to the properties that are fixed up. Okay, so if we have a comp over here that's 250, and we've got a comp over here that's 315, and they kind of look similar, but we really want to weigh more heavily on that 250 comp. As long as it's totally rehabbed, we want to weigh more heavily on that comp than this comp over here, right? And I'll see if we run across examples of that. So this is how we want to set this up. So now we're going to change up the search criteria to sold. We're going to do any price, any bedroom, bath, townhouses, all that stays the same. And then we're going to do sold in the last 6 months. Okay, done. And then we probably want to look at individual, like the square footage too. So I'm going to switch this back so I can see, because the only thing is it doesn't really keep the heart. So let's look at this house here. It has no pictures of the inside, and we're just going to base it on the square footage, 800 square foot. 2 bedroom, 1 bath. And so we're going to go under our search. Wonder what this one is. 800 square foot as well. I'm gonna pause this and let's look at this. All right, so I just kind of searched around here and I quickly realized that, we're gonna be somewhere in that 190, 180, 190 range on our ARV for these houses. So there's that 196. Here's a 155 that's decent shape but kind of older kitchen. You can kind of get a feel for it, right? And 150, not fully brand new rehab, but pretty nice inside. And then these 105s are kind of the ones that we'll probably end up buying at, right? So this 105 would probably, I saw some 105s of 80, 86, 85. So these are kind of the investor sale houses. So this is probably the range we're going to want to buy at. And you can see there's a 213 here. It's a little bigger. It's 1,200 square foot. But yeah, really nice inside. So here's this 180 over here. That's actually hideous. I don't know how this thing sold. It's like pink. Somebody dollhouse blew up in there. But you get a pretty good idea. Here's 190 and brand new rehab. So we know we're in that 180, 190 range as ARV. And so that's the hardest part, right? Figuring out the ARV on both those houses. So we would, put in, um, one, I would say 185, and this is the number that we're going to play with. I'll play with this formula a little bit, but yeah, we're offering around 113 or whatever. So this will help us calculate with our offer. So exactly how we're going to go about uh, downloading these properties. So going back to the for sales. So we know this house here, for example, we're going to want to be an ARV of around 185, right? And it needs to be fixed up. So we're going to need to buy this thing probably around 100, 110 to try to make some money on it. So um, that's it. So that's the process that we're using, and that's how I'm setting up the search. So we know on these 3 properties, that's going to be our ARV. And is that the same house? No. Okay. So I just comped 3 properties and at the same time, basically, because I know all 3 of these, my ARV is going to be around 185, 190 mark. So anyways, so that's the next step. So I'm going to try to figure out how we want to go about inputting this data. We might have to do it manually. Let me double check. All right, so for now, let's just do this manually because we really don't have any way to do it otherwise. And we may have to add a couple things. I think I'll have to add like agent info. So agent name, agent email. Let me pause this. All right, so we'll have to add agent name, email, phone, and there's some different ways we can get that. But because I don't think they have the emails right out of Zillow, we'll have to use our master spreadsheet, but we'll get to that. So all I did was copy and paste the address over. So we're going to need all this information to write offers, right? Except for the total square footage, the list price. We don't really need to have that to write the offer. But here's our ARV, and then I want to put in days in market for now, right? I want to see, let's track this stuff for now. We may find that we don't need to do that down the road. But as we're working together, this will save us both time. As you're doing stuff or I'm doing stuff, we already have the pertinent information that we need when we're determining ARVs, because we're going to be checking each other quite a bit, right, in the beginning. So this will be helpful for both of us. So, but yeah, so agent name. So here's the address. Here's the square footage. Here's days on Zillow. So days on market. And here is agent info. Let's make this easy. And we'll just make this one one thing. So agent name and phone. And that. And then we really just need to kick up the email, which I believe we're going to have to use the download sheet that I have for that, for emails. And I don't think we'll have access to email. So let me take a look at that real fast. So no, I really don't see a place where they would put their email, but I know it's in here somewhere because we've downloaded it when we do the web scraping. So it's probably somewhere. I just don't know exactly where it's at. So if you figure that out, Bassett, then great. So anyways, we'll have different ways of getting that later. So, but we can do all three of these properties now because we already know, because these are all the same square footage, right? 880, 820, 1,000 square foot. So we might be able to bump that up to like 190, 195. 2-1, 2-1. This is probably 3-1. No, it's 2-1. So yeah, so we can put all three of these into the spreadsheet. Let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I put in all three of those properties. They're from the same agent. She's actually a property manager. And so we would offer on all three of them in one contract, just to let her know that we're wanting to buy them as a package. And so if we could get them all around this price, that's probably work just fine. We might be going a little bit more aggressive, but we'll see. So anyways, that's the gist of it. So we're just going through, we're entering this stuff in, and then we can write our contracts off this sheet. So let's see if there's anything else. So we got these three in here. Let me just check, see what else we got. All right, so I had to go in here and clear out the days on market and the square footage, go back to for sale, and this will always stay the same. Now we can see the other ones that we've got that we need to offer on. So we got these three. Here's one right here, so we can zero in on this one and see what the ARV would be in this neighborhood. So I'm going back and clicking sold. Price is anything, bedroom, bathrooms, anything, that always stays the same. And then we're going back down here, last days on Zillow. You know what would be better? Let me think about this for a second. All right, so I just went ahead and I entered in all the properties we have hearted in this zip code, just to make it a little easier when we're zeroing in and comping out properties. Now I can get down, I already have the information on this property, so I'm not really going back and forth. So we'll just do sold. Price stays the same, bed, bath, townhouse, oops, not saved search, more, and we want square footage of, this one is 1,800 square foot. So we want a square foot range, let's say 15 to 2,000. And we only need to see the last 6 months of solds. And there we go. So now let's zero in and see what we've got. All right, so we got a couple comps here. There's just 275 here that is a little bit smaller, but not by much. Complete brand new rehab, as you can see, sold for 275. And then you got this 210 down here. It's kind of a little tricky. It's not a fresh rehab, but it's definitely nice in there. That's a pretty nice kitchen they have going on there. Newer granite. So it's pretty nice. Barn doors. I mean, so I mean, I would probably lean heavier on this 275. Maybe meet it in the middle a little bit. But anyways, going back to our property there at 235. It's been on the market. They might be a little overpriced. So let's just go with that 275 because this one is a little bit bigger. And so we would be offering around at 181. So anyways, that is comping properties off Zillow. Hopefully this makes sense. So that would be the step 2 of this. And then I'll develop step 3, which would be taking this, putting it on offers, and sending them out. So, and then how we're going to work the communication with the agents.